Please be seated. The Honorable Mayor Motley, Prime Minister of Barbados, members of Cabinet, members of the House of Assembly and Senate, permanent secretaries and officers of related grade, members of the public sector, our very special guest for today, Mrs. Norma Walcott, more familiar to Barbadians as the legendary onstage personality Pearly. Other guests, media, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm Crispin Hackett, your Master of Ceremonies for this evening, and it is my absolute honor and privilege to welcome you to Ilar Court, the official residence of the Prime Minister of Barbados. Perhaps more importantly, I'm honored to welcome you to this launch, the launch of a digital tool designed to bring the way the public service interacts with citizens and visitors into the 21st century with an app called Pearly. Now, Bajans know that when you hear the name Pearly, your ears just perk up immediately. For generations, Pearly was that character who could stir a pot without touching a spoon, carry news faster than the evening broadcasts, and somehow knows everybody's business before they knew it themselves. Pearly became a legend of our theater, our folklore, and our laughter. But this afternoon, Barbados is introducing a different Pearly. This Pearly is not spreading rumors, she's spreading information. This Pearly is not causing confusion, she's creating connection. This Pearly is not in your business, she's helping you to do business with government faster, easier, and smarter. From the stages that made us laugh to the technology that was move us forward, Pearly represents something uniquely Barbadian, innovation with identity, progress with personality, and the future built on who we are. So today we gather not just to launch an app, but to celebrate another step in Barbados' digital transformation, one that carries a familiar name, a touch of Bajan humor, and a powerful vision for the future. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the launch of Pearly, perhaps the first Pearly in Barbadian history who can actually keep a secret while helping government serve the people better. To set the ball rolling, I commend you to the following digital message from Head of the Public Service, Ms. Donna Cadogan. Okay, so it seems that we just have a bit of technical difficulties with that particular video, but we'll continue on. Today represents three things: that we've reached a major milestone in the development of Pearly, that we are pausing development of the app for a few to bring Barbados on board, and a clear recognition and signal that this is not the end, but merely just a pit stop and a race to a better Barbados for all. And so at this time, I would like to invite our Minister of Industry, Innovation, Science and Technology, Senator the Honorable Jonathan Reed.
Good afternoon, all. Prime Minister, Cabinet colleagues, guests, all. This is pretty cool, and I'll give a little bit of a backstory to the entire thing. One of the things that I think us who get involved into public service very early on decide is the level of impact that you want to make and the level of problems that you could solve for people on a day-to-day basis. And Roy Morris, who you all know, has this job, which is in the business of solving problems for people every day. He has this role that he's inundated with problems that people of all walks of life, whether it's major issues regarding land, major issues around issue for neighbor, major issues with, or small issues sometimes, and he's inundated with hundreds of things that he has to solve in his very specific Roy-like way. And one day he was swamped with things. He has this whole Excel sheet, and he says to me, listen, is there a way that I could automate this to make it faster? Is there a way that I could use some sort of technologies? You always tell me about this AI stuff. How can you help me with the platform to be able to do that? I said, Roy, I'm busy, man. I'm doing other things. But let me introduce you to someone I think could be able to help you with that. And I introduced him to Ramon, who I met through Mark Hill. And the iteration from that moment to today is incredible. One, I think you have to think about your role in solving really, really large and important problems. All of us have roles and positions where every day we can impact people's lives for the better. And many times we spend too much time thinking about the minutiae, the process, which is important. There are rules there for a reason. But how can we impact and move lives in a way that really moves the needle? Some of us are in roles where we get a phone call from somebody that we don't know who it is on the other end of the line. There's something that we can do for them that will really change their life, but it takes a second for us to do. And sometimes we're inundated with other things, so we don't think about it. Sometimes we go all in and we pour into that opportunity and we change someone's lives. I'm excited by this because this can do this on scale. This is the ability to change people's life for the better on scale. And I think, that's what we came in this work to do in the first place. The other part I'm really excited about is there's a thesis I have regarding optimization of problem solving, where the public, if you think of it, the government owns the largest problems that a country would have, right? So road infrastructure, crime, climate, all those difficult things, the government is the owner of those problems. Those problems often are very, very expensive. And if they're very, very expensive, they're very, very valuable. And therefore, if you're in the business of solving problems, there's no better place to solve problems than in the public space. But we have a weird relationship between public problems and private capital get involved and private skills get involved. And I think we have to stop that, especially in a small place. How do we get and usher in a new generation of private sector people, a new generation of entrepreneurs, a new generation of innovators to be part and parcel of solving public problems, to own it, to see the challenge as not a way of just getting an easy contract, but think about how can I add new value that didn't exist before and build something that didn't exist before that can solve a problem here, but solve a problem for the world. And I really must commend Ramon, yourself, and your team on that specifically, because I think that is huge. And that's a big example of where we need to go. Now, having decided that, you're going to have to be a leader, right? And one of the things a friend of mine recently instilled in me is that leadership in 2026 is really you being willing to be the first learner. And if you're the first learner, you're going to be the first ones to fail. And you're going to be the first person to take the risks. And how do you learn quickly from that failure, adapt, and build from there a series of success? And I think you exemplify this with this app. I'll let out a secret that Pearly didn't look like this at first. That the first time you showed me to her, she was growling. I said, but does she not look friendly? She needs to smile, right? She needs to be welcoming. She needs to invite people in. And even then, with Roy, he wanted to solve very specific problems at the beginning. I said, but if you can solve this, you could do more and more problems. You could get to the root cause of problems and actually accelerate the pace of problem solving at a government level. And you took that on. You plowed through difficult moments. You plowed through risks as a personal entrepreneur. You took personal risks. Your team took risks. And you've built something I think that is people could be proud of. Now, is it perfect? No, nothing's perfect. But you have reached a point where you figured out a lot of things in the process of doing that, and I really do commend you. I want to extend that not only to yourself and your team, but also all Barbadian developers and entrepreneurs. The idea is that if you see a problem that is a scale problem, you should be able to interact with government in a dynamic and respectful way to build new value that ultimately serves us well, but could serve the world. Ultimately, we want to be a platform on which people could solve national problems, but also create opportunities to create global businesses. This could be taken, once done well, this could be taken and brought to anywhere, right? And it would have been Barbadian IP with Barbadian ideas, Barbadian skills, using Barbadian data to save to the world. And that's what we want to do. We want to build big companies that originate from solving problems here. So I commend you to that. I'm looking forward to the launch, and we'll do much more things in the future. Thank you for everybody coming.
Thank you, Senator Reid, for your opening remarks. And at this time, I think we are ready for that digital message from Head of the Public Service, Donna Cadogan.
I am Donna Cadogan, and I'm the Head of the Public Service. For the past year, the government of Barbados has been working on creating a tool that is digital in nature that can be used by members of the public to link with the government in terms of issues which arise from day to day. You might be driving along the streets, you might be seeing something that is happening that is not right. You might want to be able to report to the government that it needs to pay attention in a certain area. This is what the Pearly app is all about. It is a digital tool that aims at bringing government to the people. Government in this age of public service transformation is intent on changing the way we do business. We want to make ourselves more relevant and responsive to the public. Therefore, by using the Pearly app, you will be able to send in your information on what is happening out there, areas which you think deserve attention, and we in the government, at the back end, have a responsibility to respond to you. What the Pearly app is really doing, it is making government more accountable, more responsive, more fit for purpose. And we are hoping that all persons in Barbados will utilize the app to inform us of things that are happening across the island, which we need to deal with. And therefore, we are extremely happy to be able to reach the stage where this app is being launched. It is bringing government out of the dark and bringing us into a new way of doing business. The Pearly app is a key component of Mission Barbados. And as you are aware, Mission Barbados is about all of us working together to make this a better place. The Pearly app will be one of the key ways in which you will communicate with us. We are also developing additional dashboards where you'll be able to see exactly where your requests are in various areas. We in the government of Barbados, we intend to be more responsive. We intend to service the needs of the public better as we go forward. I am very happy for us to have been able to come to the place where we are able to launch the Pearly app. I wish to thank all of the teams that would have worked behind the scenes. I want to make the point that this team is entirely Barbadian. Barbados is not only an importer of technologies, we are also producing our own technology, and we are very thankful for the work that was done by this team.
That message from Head of the Public Service, Ms. Donna Cadogan. And of course, this is very innovative, very creative, and we are getting near to that time where we actually see what this app can do. And I would like to invite the CEO of TouchStar, Mr. Ramon Damet, and the team for the overview and presentation.
But look at this here. Road bracket, water up, down, up, down. I don't even know where to start, who to call. It's called Water Authority or it's called Transport and works for this. I don't even know where to start.
Morning. You don't gotta worry about that. I already reported the potholes and it only took me 30 seconds.
What? How? How you even know who to call? You call Water Authority or you call MTW?
I didn't need to know. I just told Pearly.
Who's Pearly?
See, this is Pearly, the government's new citizen engagement platform. And all he did to report the issue was describe the problem, pin the live location, and take a few snapshots. 3 easy steps. After that, Pearly handled the rest by routing it to where it's supposed to go. See, look, my complaint gone exactly where it's supposed to go, and I could track it to see who coming to fix it.
So you ain't had to call nobody? Just tell Pearly?
Literally just tell Pearly.
Let me download that right now.
Pearly, built in Barbados for Barbadians.
I know get the app done download. I can take these 2 pictures of these potholes here. One here. Sorry, excuse me.
Yeah, you good.
This one here. And I off to work. Thanks here.
All right, no problem.
protocols have been established. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Ramon Dumet, CEO and founder of Touchstar Group, a Barbados tech startup. Today, what you've just seen in the video, as funny as it might have been, is something that we all can relate to in some shape or form. In this case, a citizen stepping out her yard and there's a pothole with water and not quite sure who to call, but luckily for her, in just 30 seconds, she was able to submit that report to Pearly, and Pearly was able to automatically route it to both the Barbados Water Authority and the Ministry of Transport and Works. With me today is there are the 3 core developers that have been part of the build-out of this platform, and also the 30-odd persons who was part of our team, especially you see our interns here from BCC as well, that have equally contributed to the product that you will see here today. Tiana?
I'm Tiana, project lead and lead software engineer on Pearly. Our Bayesian engineers built this platform from the ground up.
I'm Kern. I help led the systems that powers Pearly.
I'm Akira, software engineer and data compliance lead. I make sure that every piece of citizen data is protected and every feature meets the highest standards of privacy.
Today, you're going to hear about 2 very simple ideas. Ask Pearly and tell Pearly. The government of Barbados has just about 155 different entities, ministries, SOEs, departments, agencies, and up until today, a citizen requiring support from their government had to figure out which one of these specific departments to contact. So as Ministry said earlier, that presented a very unique challenge for us, because in building a solution, we can't expect people to go to a list and scroll and select from 100 and odd different selections. So equally, it presented an opportunity to us to build something that has never existed before. So, of course, we took on the challenge, and we've built a piece of technology that sits within Pearly that allows a user to just describe a problem, submit the photos, and it automatically routes to the correct department without no manual triage. That has never existed before, and that is Barbadian innovation, and it's innovation that we are now protecting. Over the last 18 months, we had the honor of engaging with Prime Minister, Cabinet, Head of the Public Service, Permanent Secretaries, Minister Reid and his team at MIS, including the Data Protection Commissioner, the government's Chief Information and Security Officer, police, and a number of public servants. Let's take a look at some feedback from some of whom we would have had engagement with.
We've listened, iterated, and tested. Now we've built something that Barbadians can be really proud of. Welcome to Pearly. Pearly will revolutionize public service delivery in Barbados. It's something that Barbadians have never seen before.
We recognize as the police department that Pearly can perhaps give us that type of information which person would prefer to share anonymously. It allows that person to report things on the spot. The ability to share locations, to share photos, which in most cases would be perhaps strengthen our response and give us a clear picture as to what is happening.
The challenges that we face with buses not being available or not running on time, those are all developmental issues. But even if we can't buy a new bus tomorrow or build a new highway next week, we can still use the technology to make those who utilize the services more comfortable.
I believe that Pearly will help the police service to offer a better service. The information is more forthcoming. There are people that sometimes are reluctant to contact police stations, and I've experienced that. But I'm sure that they will feel free to relate this information to Pearly, and it would offer for a better response time to the public.
When Pearly provides you with information on where there is congestion, where there is blockage, where a road may be closed, when the next bus will arrive at your bus stop, then that changes your level of comfort and the delivery of the service.
I think what excites me the most is the unknown. For me, there is no limit to what Pearly can do. We can satisfy the demands and the needs of the general public. We can also satisfy the need for every government agency. So it's a kind of unknown. I can see that it will grow, and perhaps its growth would be unmeasured.
Persons should download Pearly because it's an opportunity for you to become an active citizen. I mean, no longer sitting on the fence and complaining about issues. It's now an opportunity for you to become part of the solution.
You've just seen how we've built Pearly, but now let me show you how to tell Pearly. When citizens want to make a report, it's 3 simple steps. First, a description. So a very common issue we all know is potholes. So I'm going to say that there's a huge pothole in the road. The next step is Pearly being to automatically capture my location so I can pinpoint exactly where this report is. And lastly, any photos or videos. And submit. It's that easy. As you can see, Pearly analyzes every report that is submitted and properly routes it to its government department, so citizens no longer have to worry about where their report needs to go.
We showed you Tell Pearly. Now let us show you Ask Pearly in the context of something that matters to all of us in terms of our transit and our general transport across Barbados. So I want to first take a pause to thank the folks at the Barbados Transport Board. I mean across government, but we really had a lot of collaboration with them in what we were building to make sure that it was fit for purpose. So if you look on the screen here, right, we're going to move between this and then we're going to move between the app in a second. We can see a full network view for, this is the view of the stakeholders of Transport Board. You got to see under the hood today, right? We can see all of the bus stops, the routes, and the live buses. This is actually live data, right? We're not simulating this. So what we're going to do, we're going to show you, look, if you look on the map, you see icons, that's a bus, it's red, and that means it's running behind schedule, right? So the information card shows that it's about 80 minutes delayed, and we can see how far it is from its destination, right? We're going to dig a little deeper and go into the route details. So now, this information was not available before for stakeholders to make really, really clear decisions, right? And as we can see here, we can see route analytics showing us the performance on time trend. How often is this bus on time? Also, equally, the delay by time of day. And as we go even further, what is delay per bus stop, right? So all of that is information giving the stakeholders the tools to make decisions to help to optimize our transit. So here we can see on the screen, I'm going to let Tiana do this demo as I talk through it. So this is in the Pearly app right now. So in the Pearly app, you are able to, right now it's pulling our closest bus stop. And we can see that there's a live bus somewhere close by. And as we scroll along, even before we go and check that live bus, we can see the nearest bus stops. So Tiana, click on one of the walk. So let's go back and click on walk. So this gives you walk, turn-by-turn directions, whether you are local or tourist, because let's face it, we don't know where all the bus stops are at time, right? This is gonna give you turn-by-turn directions. As Tiana turns the phone, you can see it's gonna guide you directly to where that bus stop is. So as we go back, now we're gonna take a look at by. So here, we can see how close this bus is to us, and Fiona just jumped in, and now we see it's approaching us right now. So if you're a good sprinter, I'm not, well, this would be a good time to start sprinting to the bus stop, right? Because it's just about 2 minutes away, right? So let's hop on board. All right, so here we can see all of the details. This is the user view, of course, where the bus is, the estimated time of arrival for the additional stops. And if we close the app if we just close the phone, lock the phone, here we can see a lock screen widget. So if your phone is locked, I know you see this on the airlines and what's not, but yeah, we have it in Barbados as well for our bus service. So you can see where the bus is without opening the app on the lock screen, right? So, okay, so we're gonna go a little further. All right, so jumping ahead, we recognize something like that was really, really groundbreaking when we started to build this out. If you look at the previous map, you would have seen that we have a bus service that is covering like close to 100% of our major road network. And in data science and data engineering, we call that structured data. So it's data that we could use now to make additional decisions. So automatically, the team went to work, and we got a full picture of the traffic congestion across the entire island. Right now, we have about yesterday it was 61,000 data points. So every time a bus completes a journey, that journey comes within in a capsule that is analyzed, and the data now is used to populate the map. As you can see there, we can see different hotspots, and then that can be filtered by time of day. As we scroll on, we can see from critical to most critical, right? And one of the things that is here, I know the Prime Minister may be very interested in this one, is a potential economic impact by lost time in traffic. And that is very important for all of us, right? So whether you're a child getting to school, whether you're trying to get to work, last time is last time. And we have now a potential economic impact for that. So we're gonna scroll on a little further. And here we can see now time of day, and these are things that we kind of know already, but the data is showing us a lot of things that we already know, right? So I'm gonna kick that a little further, and hope the team stays with me as we go back to the PowerPoint, because we have that data available now for the Ministry of Transport and Works, and now it actually makes recommendations in terms of traffic flows and different things that they can consider. All of that from generating a report within the entire platform as well. So we asked ourselves, how could we allow the public also to be beneficiaries of this? So what you're gonna see on the next slide, hopefully we can get there, is something that is coming soon. We've built this, and we're already testing this in the back end, and we're gonna continue the collaboration with MIS and relevant stakeholders. It's a Pearly Maps feature. What Pearly Maps is, you know about navigation, but it's never on our data set. A matter of fact, in a lot of cases, I ain't calling them names, but it's also passively pulling that from your devices, right? So what we've been able to do with that data now is to serve it to the public, so now we can give the public predictive route analytics. What that simply means is that if leaving home at 10 minutes earlier can avoid a choke point that will cause you to waste one whole hour, you're gonna get that predictive alert as the data is being collated and learning about your traffic patterns. Equally, getting home from work. Well, let me be careful how I phrase this one, because Pearly is not going to tell you to leave work 10 minutes earlier to get home to miss the traffic, right? So if you can probably you stop at the supermarket or whatever it is. It's going to give you that insight in terms of what's happening ahead so you can make better decisions. So we told you about all that is happening, and this is something that is going to be coming soon. Now, let's show you what AST Pearly can do.
Instead
Akira?
of calling a government office and being put on hold, just ask Pearly. Operation times, documents required, all from one question. You get direct links. No long lines, no phone calls, just ask Pearly. As you can see, we just asked Pearly, where do I renew my driver's license? And Pearly responded with the respective government department, Barbados Licensing Authority. Ask Pearly, tell Pearly. One platform where you can get everything that you need from your government.
We're currently at the start of the hurricane season. Let me show you how Pearly prepares Barbados for what we all hope never comes, but what we must absolutely be prepared for.
Maintain your current heading.
So what you've just seen there is an AI-generated view of what a potential hurricane will look like. And thankfully, we had to do that from AI because we don't have much video stock to show because Barbados hasn't had that devastation in a while. However, we want to show you what Pearly does in case of an emergency. So, Tiana?
During an emergency mode, all people at DEM, as well as people at the Prime Minister's office, will be able to activate emergency mode. This will automatically change the citizen application to an easier way to make reports. If I go to the next screen.
Slide. All right, what you see?
As you can see, the next slide. So the app has completely transformed, and the citizens just have to make tap-by-taps to reports, because nobody wants to be typing paragraphs during an emergency.
And if for some reason connectivity is lost during a storm or emergency, that report is not lost. Pearly saves that report, and as soon as that device receives a new connection, it's automatically sent to the stakeholder. Kern, let's show what the command center looks like for our decision makers.
Welcome to the War Room. This is where emergency responders can see everything happening across Barbados in real time. At the top, you will find key metrics such as the active incidents and their respective severity. Next, you would see the data layers that are able to be applied to the map, such as weather data, Barbados building IDs, flood zones, and other information provided by the government. These data layers can also be used to run simulations and predictive models, helping teams anticipate impacts before they occur. All of this was brought together on a single interactive map, giving responders the situational awareness they need to make faster and more informed decisions.
And if you look closely on the map, you can see some green hearts. Those are our vulnerable population indicators. So those persons who are visually impaired, those persons who are mobility impaired and are in known flood zones. Because during an emergency, protecting our most vulnerable is not optional. So We have also been working on building something to support the vulnerable population. And let's face it, in an emergency, as much as we would have seen the ease of reporting during that time, some persons may not be able to get to a phone or be able to go through that process. So how can they call out for help? So we have built a prototype, which I have today on my arm, of a SOS, a watch that can send that SOS by a long press, right? So we're going to do a live demo of this. There's some other stuff behind this tech, but we're not going to go through all of that today. Could you give us back the live screen, please? Thank you. So whilst we get that adjusted, I can give this information. This runs on a network that is not Wi-Fi, it's not telephone, so it's secured and it's long range. So yes, so I'm going to press long press SOS, and there we can see on screen a SOS safety packet. So this SOS safety packet, the same war room view that we would have seen, the decision makers and stakeholders can see that alert coming through. So we can see here the location of this person, also their name and other details. But equally important, it also sends a vitals snapshot in the same packet. So here we can see the person's heart rate, oxygen, temperature, blood pressure, and activity at the time of that request. Akira, show us what happens after this packet is received.
When an SOS or emergency report comes to Pearly, it is then easily routable to any available emergency responders from the war room. Here's a view of what the field responders will see. They will see GPS directions to the address, any photos or evidence that a citizen will have put into their report. And here, when the hazard is clear, you will get a push notification saying that your report has been resolved.
And as Akira said, the loop closes. Every citizen, including the one that set the SOS from their watch, receives a notification saying that their report has been resolved. This type of responsiveness builds trust.
So what you've just seen in hurricane mode is how Pearly happens every day, right? So whether it's a pothole in St. Michael or derelict building in St. Lucie or drainage in St. Andrew, right? Every report is tracked from submission to resolution, end to end. And underpinning that is a governance and accountability structure that is 4 tiers. On the first tier, you have the super admin level. This is the national level of oversight of everything. Of course, Prime Minister, Head of the Public Service, the Director of Finance and Economic Affairs have the super admin and national level access. Going down further, we have at the ministerial level and the permanent secretary level, they get to see everything that is related to their ministry and their portfolio. At the department level, that is more of the operational level. That's the head of department that is feeling all of these complaints and dispatching them and organizing teams to make sure that they keep within the compliance and the SLA standards. And last but definitely not least, the general staff and the ground crews that you will see would have responded to that SOS, the people on the ground that are actually closing the loop.
A report is tracked from the minute it's submitted to when it's resolved. And if a deadline is missed, the system automatically escalates it tier by tier, from department heads all the way to ministers. There's oversight at every level, as well as automated performance reports on all departments. Departments will be able to get an automated department performance report, which shows which departments are hitting their targets and which ones are not. This makes data-driven accountability.
So as long as a report is submitted, leadership has full visibility. So Pearly is not just about asking and telling and reporting issue. It's really your connection to what's happening in government right now. So government bulletins, real-time alerts, getting communication from your respective departments. You have some right now, even from QEH and other departments in Pearly. And also general positive things happening across the public service. Because let's face it, there are a lot of things that are good that is happening that is not being highlighted also. So the news feed is, think about it like a social feed without all of the noise, right? So it's qualified, verified government content. So you can get the advisories coming straight to you that matter without all of the noise. Tiana, go ahead and let's do a demonstration.
This is the Pearly News and Civic feed. From here, all citizens will be able to see government bulletins, updates from all departments, and community highlights. So you don't have to be switching or searching between different websites. Citizens can get all their news in one centralized stream.
Let's talk about something that matters to everyone in this room, protecting citizen data. When a Barbadian submits a report through Pearly, it is only seen by people who need to see it, which are the staff that are handling the report and anyone with the relevant clearance, no one else. Every piece of data that moves through Pearly is end-to-end encrypted. We've met with the data protection officer and the government CISO. We're also working with PwC to ensure security in Pearly. As a company, we are trying to obtain our ISO 9001 certification, and Pearly is also HIPAA compliant. HIPAA is a standard released all over the world that is health, information, and patient privacy.
We didn't just build Pearly with Barbados in mind. As a matter of fact, in a couple of weeks, Touchdown will be officially opening offices in South Carolina in the US. Actually, as Minister alluded to before, exporting one of our Barbadian innovations. And upon market entry, there are a number, we all know US is one of the most regulated environments from local, federal, right? So the posture of compliance is something that we have built in from the beginning. Touchdown was founded in the age of AI. And from very early, we knew that the currency in this age was going to be trust. So we started to build that in from the foundation. And that's the same level, that's the same compliance posture that we bring to Pearly, because Barbados deserves nothing less. And all of this runs on our tech stack. So we're going to go quickly as we prepare to wrap up to show you what's under the hood. So I'm going to ask our head of AI and platform just to show a little bit of what's under the hood.
Pearly is built on our SunSuite platform, a native business operating system framework that combines both cloud and on-premise deployments. It delivers the security of cloud and also the scalability. It also have controls of the local data for your local infrastructure. SunSuite enables both data and AI residency for governments and enterprises. Our solution can be deployed directly on a dedicated server rack in any organization local infrastructure. With SunSuite AI, organizations don't need to choose between cloud innovation and operation control.
As we wrap up, we want to, first of all, thank the Prime Minister for the vision of Pearly, right? And of course, to the entire government for putting the trust in us as local talent and local innovators. So Pearly, for right now, this is just the foundation. And like with any product, it's always growing and evolving. And the best way to grow and evolve is to get feedback. And as part of our culture in our company, we value feedback. So we want to say to you, the public servants, and you, the public, every problem has not been solved, and Pearly is not going to be perfect, right? So if you need to give us feedback, as a matter of fact, in the app, there's a Holler at Us button. You can make suggestions to your government, and you can tell us, keep it straight with us. So if you put us on blast somewhere else, we're not going to see that. We don't read the comments. But if you send the feedback to us. We want to hear it. We want to improve Pearly. We want to make Pearly something that is fit for purpose, fit for use for you, the public, and of course, you, the public servants. So looking forward, we're going to continue collaboration with MISS and bring tools to Pearly to make sure that you, the citizen, for instance, leaving home, for an example, leaving St. Lucie to come to Bridgetown to book an appointment to realize that you're probably at the wrong office or somebody's not there. Those are services and things that can happen in this day and age from now. So those are things we're working with MISS to make sure that we can continue to make Pearly useful for citizens. Also, I know that there are works behind the scenes to make Pearly free on your data. I think that actually deserves a round of applause. Yes. And that is something in the works. It's not free today, but that is something that I know that is currently in the works. And building the public transparency, as the head of the public service mentioned, where you can rate the performance or the service that you receive from anywhere in government. And last but not least, continue building better tools for public servants so that we can give them the tools to perform at their best.
One of those tools being a Bayesian dialect AI model, so the chatbot actually understands Bayesian dialect. Voice notes and text-to-speech are both features we're looking to implement to Pearly, as well as kiosk access points all across the island, so Pearly reaches everybody, not just smartphone users.
And our compliance framework scales with every feature we build. Security is built in from day one.
And as we close, think about where we started. The woman who had the issue and luckily was able to tell Pearly. So, ask Pearly, tell Pearly. Two simple ideas. One powerful platform, built by Barbadians and built for you. To every citizen, this is your platform, your voice heard, your government responding. To every public servant, this is a tool for responsive governance. This is what the future of governance looks like, and Barbados is leading the way. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, what a comprehensive presentation from a very young team. Let's give them a bigger round of applause. It is my pleasure to now introduce someone who, much like the original Pearly, really needs an introduction. The difference, of course, is that Pearly was known for knowing everyone's business, while our Prime Minister has the job of managing everyone's business. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the Honorable Mia Mottley, Prime Minister of Barbados.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I have been in public life for 37 years. And this is the first time that I've ever been so politely called a Pearly. But I will accept it simply because if you hold this job, you better know what's going on all over the country. I really want to say how pleased I am today. And you've heard a lot which will be broken down in small bits for you so that it becomes digestible and capable of being retained. Because this app, Pearly, will only be as good as the users that hold on to it and utilize it. When we came to office 8 years ago, I anticipated that a large part of our job would be to deconstruct government and reconstruct it. Many of the systems that we inherited have been around for decades and in some instances centuries. The Barbados Police Service is the third oldest police service in the Commonwealth, starting in 1834. The psychiatric hospital, P.S. I know you've left, but that goes back to the 1870s, sorry. And the Barbados Postal Service goes back to the 1850s. And in a very real sense, there are some who might argue that if Grantley Adams came back today, he would recognize how things were being done, because the systems and the manner in which we execute what we are doing is so much reminiscent of what it was when he was there. But we live in a world where I can pick up this phone, see people, talk with people, and do everything other than beam me up, Scotty, in the Star Trek version of that wonderful, wonderful sci-fi series. Everything except that. In the early 1970s, when as a child I used to watch the Jetsons, we looked at these things, and the notion of a flying person or a person flying in a vehicle, everybody in the air, just moving, traffic not humbugging them. And we thought that these things were otherworldly. The notion of being able to speak to somebody and see them, even though, as Bajans would say, they were far and away, was something that was beyond our concept. But yet, I pinch myself, and I'm living in a different world. You pinch yourself. And for those of you who are not as young as these kids who've done this wonderful work, I still remember in 1980, the first time I saw a VCR machine, and that we could use a videotape. And then Bajans started to use the videotape shop in every community as the primary form of entertainment. I say all of these things because it is important to understand why this government set as its mission moving from an analog Barbados to moving to a digital Barbados. We have seen countries across the world be able to benefit from technology in a way that allows them to leapfrog. And in leapfrogging, the other things that would have hitherto paralyzed them in their development have been avoided. And the technology has given us that ability. But technology that is still remote from the citizens is not using technology in a way that helps us build out this nation and helps us become more efficient. I am happy that in this next week, today is number 1. Friday night will be number 2. And next Tuesday will be number 3. They say I like the number 3 in every form. And it is important for us to understand that in this week, starting today, we are going to change how Bajans interact with their society. not with the technology. The technology, as we said many years ago when I was in the Ministry of Education with EduTech, is simply a tool. But at the end of the day, it is the purpose of the tool that matters. You have seen today that we have developed in this country, through these brilliant young Barbadians and with the guidance of Mr. Dumont, a tool that makes the Office of Citizen Engagement and Media Relations more responsive and more capable of meeting the needs and expectations of citizens where they are and not where we want them to be. The young lady probably just took 2 shots of the 2 potholes by her, but if I am to believe every Bajan, there are a lot more shots that she can take of potholes. Similarly, we have so many other things that constitute danger and/or opportunity that if communicated to those who have responsibility for it, they are in a position to be able to respond, and more importantly, to use the data analytics to make the system more efficient and more capable of building a country where the level of apathy at best or cynicism at worst is not driving citizen engagement. And this is important. We have not only been elected to do the big transformational things that we have been, and that we have tried to do successfully, from saving the dollar to being able to stabilize an entire country during the most serious pandemic in a century. Yes, we have been elected to do the big things, but also the small things that irritate people. The things that cause people to put along strips in the middle of their sentence because they don't understand how this pipe been leaking for 3 days, and every time I call the water authority, them got me holding on, like if I ain't got food to cook in this house, like if I ain't got little children to take care of, like if I ain't got laundry to do. And some will have the patience to wait it out, and some will put 3 long strips and 2 other words and drop it down, back on the phone, off it goes, click. We accept that. And it is for that reason that the government has invested in this partnership to find a more efficient way of allowing citizens to be able to share, to express their views, and that is the genius of those 2 words. One is a 3-letter word, ASK, Ask Pearly. Everybody knows what the word ask means. And the other one is a 4-letter word, Tell Pearly, which hopefully will replace the other 4-letter words that people were using when they got frustrated with the delivery of government services. I have every confidence that once Bajans adopt this, it is not only going to help them see matters resolved in their communities, but it will help the efficiency of government, and more importantly, the office of citizenship in the country. And I speak to this because this country is as strong as those who are prepared to step up and play their role as citizen. We know citizenship to be the highest office in any democracy. Yes, we have a president. Yes, we have a prime minister. But the Charter of Barbados reminds us of how important the duties and the rights are of a citizen. And it is against this backdrop, my friends, that I want Bajans to embrace this app. Yes, it is free. At some point, I imagine that the joint venture that will exist between us and this young company will see a platform for advertising, Because if Bajans use this in their large numbers, anybody who wants to communicate and advertise a message can benefit ultimately from being able to do so. And we have lived in a world where we have seen the majority of the advertising dollars move from television into technology in its broadest sense. And I have every confidence that this will become such a platform to help us continue to offset our expenditure going forward. You heard me say that this is number one of three. This is not Parliament, so I can afford to anticipate what comes next without offending the rules of Parliament. And the next one will be at midnight on Friday night, when at long last, the Central Bank of Barbados will launch BIMPay, which is intended to make every Bajan's life simpler by being able, and hopefully ultimately as a society, more affordable, because it allows the central bank first and foremost to be in charge of our digital payment system, and it will facilitate then greater commerce on a digital platform in a way that we contemplated when we first came to office. It is true that we did not expect COVID to hit, and therefore everything that we wanted to do has been delayed effectively by 3 to 4 years, depending on what it was. But I am confident that in the same way we have taken the time to bring a new legal framework for child justice and child protection, in the same way that we have taken the time to be able to transform a 19th century Victorian welfare approach to a modern social empowerment agency that puts people and not the service being delivered at the center of what we're doing. In the same way that we are modernizing our criminal justice system and all of the legislation, recognizing that much of our legislation was Victorian once again, that what we are effectively doing today is making it easier for the citizen of this country, for the resident of this country, to be able to engage in things that make a difference to their lives. That ability to see how far the bus is will tell you whether you can go back inside and get the glasses or something that you forget to put in your purse and get back outside in time to still catch the bus. Things that you might have doubted before and caused you anxiety can bring your pressure down, because you know now that the bus is 9 minutes away. You got a 2-minute walk to the house, you know where you put it down, you can pick it up and come outside quick, and get back there for the bus. It allows those of you who have the app to be able to be smart and use the bus route to know where the traffic is. And we look forward to the more dedicated traffic app that will be available, because we all know that until we solve the problem of too many cars with no roads that are effectively increasing, that traffic continues to be a bugbear, because the country is going through what I call growing pains. You cannot have 20 straight quarters of economic growth and not go through growing pains. The third one will be an app that will allow Bajans to pay all their bills, as well as to transfer funds on the thing that Bajans use the most, their phone with WhatsApp. And the notion that you can safely pay your bills without having to go and stand up, Liz, in the sun by licensing authority with 200 people out there and the sun coming down hard, and me having to send the director of citizen engagement up there to see whether we got enough water and whether we got enough fans and whether we got a tent and all of those other things to be able to make sure that the citizens who use these services are not being humbugged. All of that can now be bypassed with what hopefully we will launch next Tuesday. I say these things to remind you that a lot of this has taken time to develop, time to test. We do not pretend it to be perfect. And that is why every software that I know has a version 2, a version 3, a version 4, a 2.1, a 2.2, a 2.3. Because however strong you are as a developer, there is usually some aspect that somebody else out there going to find for you that you didn't quite get through. If you did A-level mathematics as I did, you would have had to do combinations and permutations. And if you did combinations and permutations, you know that they're almost infinitesimal. And therefore, you do not wait, as I tell my cabinet all the time, to have perfection, because the pursuit of perfection very often is the obstacle to progress. So my friends, welcome to Pearly. Ma'am, there could be no better iconic use of the role that you played in Beijing bus stop. Those of us, and I forget that some in this audience might be a little young, but those of us who have any age on us all know who and what a Pearly is. In the same way that Barbadians have distinguished themselves in a new meaning of the word malicious. Because malicious really means to have some evil and spiteful intent in there. But in Barbados, malicious is simply, you won't mind your own business, your mind is somebody else's business. And when I have to explain to other Caribbean people when they hear somebody use the word malicious and they start to get, I say, relax yourself, them only telling you that you too busy in other people's business. It is not intended to be like malice in a murder charge or a criminal charge. That is a different type of malice. But in that same way, we have developed our own language, our own sensibilities, our own sensitivities. Let us use Pearly for the good. Let us ask Pearly, let us tell Pearly. And as we do that, let us recognize that we are also validating the efforts of this young Bajan team. And Mr. Dummett, they hear your Guyanese accent. Dumont, they hear your Guyanese accent. And you need to tell them that you've been about here long. And that Barbados and Guyana are not only tied at the hip for the celebration of independence, but tied at the hip for so many other things from so many of us who have Guyanese family or Guyanese roots or Bajan family and Bajan roots from Guyana. But the team, and I want all of you to stand, the three up front and all from the Barbados Community College, who effectively did the heavy work and the heavy lifting, and we turned down an app from overseas that was a generic app in order to give you the chance not only to prove what you could do, but to give you the confidence of being able to see something, solve something, as you heard Minister Reid say, because at the end of the day, this is your country, your region, your world. And if you can use Barbados as a prototype to do these problems, rest assured that there are, 46 other small island states across the world that probably are experiencing similar problems. And therefore, we will work with you such that the phrase global citizen, Bajan roots, will have real meaning and real benefits for you as Bajan citizens. We have invested in your education. We ask you to remain curious. We ask you to remain ethical and empathetic. And if you do that, I have every confidence that we will be solving many, many, many more problems. I'm told that in this 60th year of our independence and 5th year of our republic, that while this week is 1, 2, and 3, that there are many, 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 many more coming in order to make the lives of ordinary Bajans easier and better. That was our promise, and that is what we are seeking to deliver. Thank you, congratulations, and God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you, Prime Minister Motley. And this is the beauty of Barbados. We take things that define us culturally, we honor them, and then we reimagine them for the next generation. At this time, I'd like to invite the launch party, and Ms. Norma Walker, please come forward, also known as Pearly. Let's give her a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Senator Reid.
This is blending good old culture with technology.
Mr. Damet. and Tiana Ford.
You heard that? Responses. 3 cheers for Pearly. Hip hip. Hip hip. Hip hip. Let Pearly reign from St. Lucie to St. Philip, from St. James to St. John. And before I leave here, I want to see what time the Martins Bay bus game, please, Linda Holder. Thank you.
Well, at this time, we're going to have a quick photo opportunity, and Pearly is now live.
Roy Morris.
And to deliver our vote of thanks, Director of Citizenship and Engagement, Mr. Roy Morris.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Protocol having been established, I shall proceed. Let me make the point up front that I believe I have the most important task today, which is to give thanks to all those who've been part of this exercise. First, sincere thanks to the Prime Minister for the vision that gave birth to Pearly. I do not believe there is anyone who works with you, Prime Minister, who does not understand, appreciate, and value your overwhelming desire to lift the country up, particularly your desire for a more empathetic, nimble, accommodating, and modern public service. But sometimes, Prime Minister, your pace can cause even the strongest hearts to skip a few beats. And let me tell you why I say that. We've been trying to get Pearly launched for a little while, but you know, Prime Minister's schedule is very busy. I woke up about 6 o'clock last Friday morning, and as usual, I checked to see what Prime Minister sent overnight. And there was a note saying, we're launching Pearly on Tuesday. It's Friday morning, you know. So we had literally 2 weekend days and 1 day as a work day to pull this off. So I'm thankful for everyone who's been part of the exercise. I extend sincere thanks to the officers across the public service for your support in this developmental journey. The corps of permanent secretaries and officers of related grades, I thank you for your immediate embrace of Pearly, your suggestions and guidance during our consultations. A special thanks to the staff at MIST and the body of IT officers across the public service. Your engagement has been critical to the movement of Pearly up to this stage and will be even more critical as we move forward. I don't want anyone to be jealous, but I must extend a special thanks from the entire development team to Stephanie Charles Savarol from MIST, who has been extremely resourceful through this journey, especially while we were consulting with the vulnerable community of Barbados to make sure Pearly meets their needs. On top of that, with the consent of Permanent Secretary Ms. Claudette Hope Greenwich, Stephanie has agreed to be our Pearly ambassador at MIST. And you know there's going to be a lot of interconnection between us and MIST over the coming weeks and months. After a near 2-year journey, though, that has been as dynamic as this one, we cannot name every contributor personally unless you wish me to be here with me for another hour or so. To all the service providers for this event who were able to meet our demands in 1 weekend with mere hours' notice, I thank you. To my colleagues at PMO, particularly Darian Yearwood, I thank you for your support as well. And finally, Prime Minister has done it, but I think I have to do it as well. The brains and energy at the center of this, the team of the Touchstar Group, working with you has been inspirational and reinvigorating. I feel like a few years younger having worked with you, although I'm certain that before the end of this week, Prime Minister will take up all of those extra years that I gained. Ramon, thank you for your leadership of the team. Team, thank you for all you've done. And just let me ad-lib for 30 seconds. As a person who spent almost all of my entire life, adult life, in news media, I'm well aware that news tends to be negative. And in the last couple of years, the news has been overwhelmed with negative. Today, however, we can celebrate this cadre of young Barbadians because in them, we have a future. In them, we recognize that the challenges that we face are not insurmountable. In them, we recognize that those of us who have now reached what we used, when we used to look at our parents and call them old, we are now those old people. We get up and we need to find something to hold on to complete the process. We sit down and we need to find something to hold on to complete the process. We wake up in the morning and we realize that our feet don't go as straight as they used to. We know we're getting there. But we can walk away, and I say this with all sincerity, we can now walk away when we recognize that we have this kind of talent, this kind of dedication, this kind of resource available to us. Ladies, gentlemen, stand again and take a bow. We owe you so much. Please stand. Thank you, audience. You may be seated. Finally, to those of you in the public service, over the next couple days and weeks, this team that you celebrate today will be calling you, making contact with you as we onboard every single department of government, every statutory corporation, every area of government will be onboarded with Pearly in the coming days and weeks, hopefully days. So when you get their calls, when you get their emails, please make sure that you respond with the kind of energy and enthusiasm that they will bring to you. And then Pearly will do what it is supposed to do. And finally, one of the permanent secretaries from who up to a few, almost days ago, was at the Ministry of Transport and Works, JHU, has been making the point that for them, they are putting in place the kind, this was while he was at MTW, putting in place the kind of resources and systems to make sure that Pearly, comments, complaints, anything that comes through Pearly is responded to with alacrity. And he's doing that because he recognized that MTW is likely to be one of those arms of government that will take a lot of beating over the next couple of days. But the point is, you have as well the tool to make sure that you turn it into positive by your actions in response to citizens. And I send that to every area of the public service. I thank you, I appreciate your support, and look forward to working with you even closer in the coming weeks. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Morris. Ladies and gentlemen, this afternoon we have witnessed something truly Barbadian, the meeting of innovation, service, and national pride. It is a reminder that while we honor our traditions, we are never afraid to embrace the future. As we leave here today, let us remember that technology is not just about apps and devices, it's about people. It's about making life easier, government services more accessible, and creating a Barbados that works smarter for every single citizen. And so, as Pearly officially begins her new chapter, may she be efficient instead of troublesome, helpful instead of mischievous, and available 24 hours a day without asking anybody for a ride home. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Crispin Hackett. It has indeed been a pleasure to host you this afternoon. One love, one Barbados. Travel safely, do enjoy.
Bridging the gap of generations through wisdom and practical application, connecting people with resources while preserving cultural heritage. Here to help our community, let us utilize Pearly to share what's going on. Tell Pearly to report a problem. Tell Pearly information to pass on. Tell Pearly for technical solutions. Ask Pearly. Pearly, ask Pearly, ask Pearly. Tell Pearly, tell Pearly, tell Pearly.